What's going on, landscapers and outdoor go-getters? Thanks for stopping by the shop today. As you can see, we have a Simpson pressure washer. Customer states everywhere he puts the machine, it leaves a puddle of oil underneath it. This is a pretty new machine. It's still under warranty, and this is actually going to be a warranty repair. And it's also a common problem that I come across on some of the Simpson pressure washers and DEWALT pressure washers that comes through the shop. So stay tuned. We're going to diagnose exactly where the oil leak is coming from, and most of all, how to fix it. So before we get started, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, as we upload videos weekly on all types of different machines, from mowers, chainsaws, pressure washers, all different kinds of equipment. So I'm sure we'll have a video that's going to help you out in the future. Also, give this video a thumbs up and comment below if you have an issue with a machine you're working on. Maybe we can help you out. So with that said, let's get it. All right, we have our pressure washer raised up, and we are going to start diagnosing this oil leak and try to figure out exactly where the oil leak is coming from. So it's pretty evident that it's leaking from the pump, and it's coming from the rear area of the pump, because everywhere we put it in the shop, and even the customer states that it leaves a puddle of oil right on top of this bar and on the ground. If you look back here where the sight glass is, it tells you your oil level. You can see it's really wet. There's no oil leakage or sign of a leak around the drain. No leak around the fill cap area, and there's no leak around the pump case right here, and there's no signs of a leak around the manifold area. However, all of the leak is right here around the sight glass, and it seems to be dripping off of the flange next to this Allen head bolt. So this is where our leak is coming from. It's coming from the sight glass seal. Behind this metal plate, there's an O-ring, and then this is a plastic sight glass that the O-ring also seals up against. And from my experience, I see the O-ring in this sight glass gets deformed and it causes a leak. And that's usually all that is needed to repair this oil leak issue. So I'm going to show you the parts that we're going to need to fix it real quick, the tools you need. All right, so if you're going to tackle this job yourself, we're going to go over what tools and items that is going to be needed to do this repair. First thing you're going to need is a catch pan to catch your oil in. I usually just grab an old frying pan. You're going to put that underneath there. Other thing you're going to need is a number 4 metric Allen wrench. You're going to need a 17 millimeter wrench or an adjustable wrench or something like that. And then the two parts that we're going to need to fix this problem is the new sight glass, which that is the part number, and then the new O-ring. And last thing you're going to need is your choice of oil. Brand is not an issue here. However, on top of the pressure washer pumps, they will usually put what kind of oil they want you to use. And this one calls for 15W40. As you see right here, it says use 15W40 oil. So that's what we're going to use. We're going to use some 15W40 oil. So now that we went over everything necessary to repair this unit, let's fix it. All right, the first thing we're going to do is get our 17 millimeter wrench, and we are going to remove the drain bolt and drain all the oil out of the pump. Next up, we're going to get our number 4 metric Allen wrench, and we're going to remove the 3 Allen screws right here. Once you have them out, you're going to take this metal plate and lay it to the side. Now that most of our oil is drained out, we're going to try to remove the sight glass, and it just pulls out. Sometimes they can be a little tight on that O-ring, so you may need to get a small flat tip screwdriver and just kind of pry it out. There you go. And that's the old sight glass, and this we will be throwing away as we have a new one. And finally, our O-ring is right here. As you see, it just fell off. All it does is sit right here in the case, and then that sight glass goes up against it, and that is what seals this entire hole right here, is this one O-ring. All right, the next thing I like to do is I'm gonna take our new O-ring. I'm gonna get a little bit of this oil right here. You can use your new oil, it doesn't really matter. And I'm just going to lubricate this new O-ring up a little bit. Just get it nice and oily. And then we're gonna take our brand new sight glass, and I put the O-ring around it, just like so. And then I will insert the new sight glass into the pump. And it just kind of pops in there like so. With that brand new O-ring, it can be a little tricky to get it to pop all the way in and seat, but basically you want to make sure that you get everything nice and flush when it goes in. It should sit very flush on the case. And then finally, the last thing, we're going to get our metal flange and our 3 Allen screws and put that back on. Start all of our screws. Get our number 4 metric Allen wrench and just start snugging them down lightly. Work ourselves around. And then we will tighten them down pretty good. And I like to just go around a few times. And as far as a torque spec goes, I like to use the old German spec on this, good and tight. There you go. That right there just fixed this oil leak, and this pump will not leak oil anymore. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put our drain plug back in and then fill up our pump with our 15W40 oil. And now that we got our plug in, I like to take a little bit of brake cleaner, and I will just spray this brake cleaner kind of around it. Try to clean up some of this oil from the leak. And then I'll take a rag and wipe it down. Next thing up, we're just going to get a pair of pliers here and loosen our oil fill cap and pull it out like so. And then we're going to get a funnel and fill our pump back up with oil. And if you did not know, the red dot right here on that sight glass that we just put on, the new one here, that is where your oil level needs to be. It needs to be in the middle of this sight glass. So we're going to fill it up until we start to touch that red dot with oil. All right, we're going to start putting oil back in this unit, and you should start to see it come up the bottom of the sight glass here. They do not hold a whole lot of oil, so definitely you want to pour it in pretty slow and just kind of watch the window right there, and when you get to the red dot, you're good to go. And here we go. I can start seeing it coming up the bottom a little bit right now. Let that drain down the funnel a little bit. Looks like we need just a little bit more. Let's see where that gets us. Just about. All right. So there you go. We got our pump filled back up with oil. You can see our oil level is right here. It's splitting that red dot. And as long as you're in that halfway zone, you know you're touching the red dot, you're splitting in the middle of the red dot, or if you're just slightly above it, it's okay. You definitely don't want to fill the entire window up. That's going to be too much oil, and you're going to have oil just coming everywhere out of this pump. But as long as you're close, somewhere in the middle of this red dot, you are good to go. All right, there you have it. Like I said, very simple repair. Takes just a couple parts, an O-ring and a new sight glass and some oil, and you're good to go. This repair takes a total of maybe 10 to 15 minutes at the very most, and anybody can do this. This was a very, very simple, basic repair. So if you have a Simpson or a DEWALT pressure washer or a AAA pump, as that is the brand of this pump, is a AAA pump, and you have the sight glass window on the back of the pump with the 3 screws, and you have an oil leak, and it seems to be coming from around that area, that is all that is necessary to repair the leak. Very straightforward. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet. Give the video a thumbs up. Put a comment down below on what you're working on. Maybe we can help you out. And until next time, stay safe out there. We'll see you on the next one.